Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley here in Washington, where we're awaiting the arrival of a blizzard here on Friday afternoon. It's supposed to be 2 feet of snow, yet another terrible stumbling block for the global warming fanatics. But now, as usual, we would like to keep up with the struggle for the U.S. Constitution and the resolution of this question about is Obama a natural-born citizen of the United States? Is he 35 years old? Is he eligible to be president at all? And why doesn't he come clean on this issue? Well, it's so easy, right? If you don't like all this ferment, then publish the real original typewritten, ink-signed document from 1961, apparently, which was what he claims he's got. So for this, of course, we turn to Phil Berg. Now, Phil Berg, of course, distinguished lawyer and advocate from Philadelphia, Democratic Party official, Democratic Party candidate for governor, senator, and not going to Nashville, I think, despite all of the ferment about the Tea Party there, Phil?
No, I didn't go to Nashville, and the Tea Party's really split. I noticed that 600 people were there, and they paid like $600 a head. It's like a money maker. There's various other factions. We'll get to the next one. It's important. We'll see who it is. But I'm more interested. The CPAC is a convention in Washington, D.C. in a week or two. I think I'm going to get down there.
Very interesting. Conservative Political Action Conference, that's the biggest confab of essentially right-wingers that you have in Washington during the year.
Yeah, I'm going to try to come down for that. And sorry I'm late on your show today, but Jeff Cooner's show in Washington, D.C., I just spent an hour and a half on his show. Taking phone calls. Don't want to give him a plug, but it's good we're getting out there. I give Jeff credit for having me on, and I'll go on any radio station or TV any place in the country, and you're the best. You have me on weekly. But I think we're getting to the president. Did you hear what happened the other day? I mean, I put out my release. We're calling for a birth certificate march on Washington. We're asking people, go to my website, obamacrimes.com, OBAMACRIMES.com, obamacrimes.com. We're calling for a birth certificate march on Washington. We're asking people to email, fax, or mail a copy of their birth certificate to us. We hope to compile 1 million of them and then present them to Obama or ask the people to join us in Washington. Can you imagine surrounding the White House, everyone have a copy of the birth certificate and say, Obama, why won't you show yours? But I think the next morning was the national prayer service in Washington, and Obama, at the end of his speech, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me here, but basically I think we're getting to him. He said, like, no one should question my faith, and he paused, or my citizenship. So I think we're getting to him. For him to mention that at the National Prayer Breakfast, I think that we're making some inroads. And as he drops in the polls, and as more and more people understand, we're just asking for some basic documentation to prove that he's constitutionally eligible to be president. So please, everyone out there, when the show is over, go to my website, obamacrimes.com. Send it to everyone in your address book. Ask them to send us at least $1, number one. Ask them further to please send a copy of their birth certificate, a mail a copy, fax a copy. Someone said, well, they can take information. If there's some information on there that you don't want divulged, black it out. But at least produce a legitimate birth certificate, which Obama refuses to do. And if we can raise the public awareness, and my March on Washington, the birth certificate march on Washington, I think this is the way to get to him. Remember now, Nixon went down not on the break-in at the Watergate. He went down on the cover-up of the break-in at the Watergate. We're now 13 months into Obama's presidency, and I hate even saying that word. And what do we have? We have a cover-up. We have a major cover-up that he's a phony, he's a fraud. But the fact that he mentioned the other day about this citizenship, I think we're making inroads. And everyone out there, we are all part of we the people. And that's how the Constitution starts. And we the people we want a peaceful revolution to stand up, stand firm, say we want the Constitution followed. And Obama, if you can't prove it, then it's time that you move on.
Very good, Phil. Let me point out, Jeff Cooner, this is WMAL here in Washington. This is the largest conservative news talk in the Washington, D.C. area. A lot of influentials listen to that. And this guy, Jeff Kruner, he claims to be an anti-globalist conservative. In other words, he doesn't agree with Limbaugh on free trade and a bunch of other stuff. So that's an interesting audience. It's 5:70 a.m. in Washington, D.C. Now, again,
he told me just for information that I lit up his board, and he's going to have me back on because the calls just came in. The board, they said, was never so lit up. And I do bring up a topic, and I answered every question. I'm not afraid of any question. I really think that Obama is a fraud, a phony. This is the biggest hoax against the United States of American citizens in over 230 years, and it's an absolute disgrace. Very good. And remember, this guy competes with Limbaugh, so this is he's got to offer something that Limbaugh doesn't have. And of course, Limbaugh has a lot of hot air, but not this content. The thing that gets me, Phil, is I see now more attention to it. There's a poll that has been done by the Daily Cost, and they say, well, about 1/3 of Republicans, I believe, think that Obama is not a citizen, and then they start wagging their heads and deploring this. The issue is so simple. Why not bring forward the original birth certificate looking like a document from 1961 with typewritten information, signatures in ink, and all the details that are not on this computer printout that Obama has posted? And that, I think, remains the overriding question. Why not bring forward your birth certificate if you claim you have one? Well, it's obvious. First off, in one of his books, he says he has his birth certificate. So it's very obvious why he has not produced his birth certificate. He hasn't produced his birth certificate because it will show that he is not natural born. You know, he either has it that I believe it's from Kenya. If it's someplace else, you know, it will not show that he's natural born. If he could show that he was natural born, we would have seen that birth certificate by now. You know, yes. He has now spent over $1.6 million fighting my 3 lawsuits and 50 other lawsuits out there. You don't spend that kind of money when you can get a duplicate birth certificate with a great sum of between $5 and $25. So that's what I think, and it's time that we have a peaceful revolution. It's time that all your listeners spread the word out there. It's time that people send in a birth certificate. It's time that people send at least $1 to us to show we have support across this great nation. I'm doing this for all of you out there. You want to give the mailing address for people who won't get to the Internet? Just give them a quick mailing address? Sure. My website is obamacrimes.com. They can mail it to Phil Berg or Obama Crimes at 555 Andorra, A-N-D-O-R-R-A, Andorra Glen, G-L-E-N, Court, C-O-U-R-T, Suite 12, Lafayette Hill, L-A-F-A-Y-E-T-T-E, Hill, H-I-L-L-P-A, 19444. We could really use your support. They can even call me at 1-800, I don't have that number in front of me, or another one, 610-662-3005, 610-662-3005. We want to hear from you out there. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for the 3.2 million men and women who have either died or been maimed in wars defending this Constitution. This is a disgrace that we're 13 months into the administration, and we know nothing about Obama. And I think we're getting to him by his remarks at the National Prayer Service just yesterday, where he came out, and it's in a paragraph. He didn't say, don't question my citizenship, but he said, don't question basically my faith or my citizenship. I think the fact he brought it up out there, that we're hitting a sore point there for him. He's a phony, he's a fraud, and let's get him out of there. And I think everybody's got to be gravely concerned because since this seems to be what you say it is, it means that he's blackmailable. It means that the invisible government clique, right, the Wall Street boys in the background, can get him to do whatever they want because they can say, you do what we tell you or we'll go with the birth certificate story, and therefore they can blackmail and extort the things that they want. So this is an issue for everybody. And we thank you, Phil, and we'll see you next week. My pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye. So we'll be back then next week at the same time on World Crisis Radio. Remember, we're on demand anytime for free at gcnlive.com. And, of course, go to tarpley.net to keep up with all kinds of articles, my interviews from time to time on Russia Today, other materials going up. You can see things there in various languages.
This is now in the top 100,000 websites in the United States. So we thank you for that. And we'll see you next week.